Hello again, I am Blunty. So that YouTube 10-minute thing. I get asked about it every now and again. I get accused every now and again of deliberately making a video just over the 10-minute mark just so I can squeeze in extra ads. Fact is, well, you know what? I'll answer that question in a minute. Let's do some building first. Once upon a time, the accepted advice on YouTube, and I have been on YouTube for like a decade and a half now. I've been on YouTube since before Google bought YouTube and turned it into something people could actually make money doing. In fact, I was one of the first 12 people handpicked by Google to test out what became the partner program. Back then, we weren't getting ad revenue. We were getting sort of a flat fee. I don't think I'm still allowed to talk about what that flat fee was or anything like that, but that's the way it worked. I just wanted to test out that system and seeing if rewarding creators would improve content and what that did to the content and how people would react. And then banner ads started, and then pre-roll ads started, and then non-skippable pre-roll ads started, and then post-roll ads, and then mid-roll ads, and then multi-mid-roll ads, and then ads that would play back-to-back. So you start a video, you get one unskippable ad, and then another skippable ad, or maybe the other way around. And YouTube have been trying all kinds of things, throwing stuff and see what sticks to the wall, see what works. And there are pluses and minuses to all that, and sometimes it's led to outrage. And gradually, people have learned to accept it. Though I remember when ads first started rolling, I had people that would come to my video and call me a sellout just for having ads on my video. How dare you want to make money doing this YouTube thing? You're just a nerd sitting in your bedroom with a web camera, and that's true enough. But these days, it's people want that's their goal. A lot of young kids these days want to be an YouTuber or an Twitch streamer or an TikTok influencer or whatever the hottest thing is right now. So it's been a funny old thing to see that turn around about being called a sellout for accidentally creating a career out of doing this stupid crap, versus being, a leader, if you will. I was literally one of the first dozen people to ever make money doing YouTube. That's a fact. And I don't get the credit I deserve for that, I don't think, most of the time. Now, when YouTube started doing the thing where they would put mid-roll ads and post-roll ads and stuff like that, they made the decision that any video less than 10 minutes in length, that's another thing. YouTube never used to let you upload more than 10 minutes in length. I was one of the first people to be able to do that as well, because that was part of the benefit of what was, to become the partnership program. It used to be a hard 10-minute limit. And if you wanted to upload more than 10 minutes of content, you'd have to do it in separate chapter videos. The accepted advice for a YouTube video back in those days was to keep your video about 3 minutes. Short, snappy, easy to digest, and that was the recommended time frame. And it still is to some extent, because when most people lose interest in watching a video, it is sort of that 2 to 3 minute mark where you see the roll off in the charts. That's where people started abandoning the vid. They've made up their mind whether or not the video is for them or not before they've even gotten to the meat of the vid, if it is a 10-minute long video, or approached a conclusion. And you see some people structuring the videos to try and take advantage of that. So you see a lot of creators out there, and I don't do this a lot, but they front load their video going, the first 90 seconds of the video is, we're going to talk about this today, and we're going to do this and this and this, but before we move on, I'd like to take the chance to talk to our sponsor, and without further ado, and then they run the rest of the video. So they're trying to front load as much as possible to get people to try to skip their teeny tiny attention spans. I don't tend to do that a lot. A lot of the time I turn on the camera and start rambling. A lot of the time I script, but I don't build that stuff into my script a lot. It feels a little bit more artificial than I like my videos to feel. I like my videos to come off as naturalistic. And when I'm doing it like this, they certainly are, because I have no script. I don't even have any notes this time. In fact, I've already deviated from what the plan was from this video. I'm also making this video without any edits. That's something else that I and a couple of other YouTubers in the earliest days sort of pioneered, and it was the jump cut thing. And I've talked about this in a few times, but it used to be that people would make videos like this. I would just turn on the camera, talk, and they would leave in all their awkward pauses and thinking and taking sips of their tea, or in my case, water out of my special Nintendo of New York bomb water bottle thing. And they would just leave all that in. And I thought, well, that's a waste of time. People have short attention spans. I'll just do the jump cut. And you see the jump cut, it's either, there's just a cut. It's just a hard cut, and you don't see that in TV. Well, you never used to see it in TV. You do these days because some of that's been influenced by what people are getting used to. But it used to be, it was against, and any editor worth their salt would cringe every time that happened. But it just became the norm on stuff like this, just to cut out those bits that don't need to be there, that aren't content, as it were. So people would cut out all kinds of things. They would cut out breaths between sentences all of the time to make it seem higher paced and punchier, and that became a presentation style in and of itself. You see the people sort of and just rabbit on and on as quickly as possible. And I've been accused of that a few times too, because when I get excited, my speech pattern tends to rev up. I'm already speaking faster than I was at the beginning of the video because my brain is racing ahead of what I want to say, and I want to get it out of my mouth before it disappears from my brain. That's just the way my brain works. This video was very different to one I planned. Very, very different to the one I planned. I had a whole gag set up and everything. We might still get to it. We'll see how this goes. So, the jump cut thing, I helped pioneer. One of the first 12 people to make money on YouTube, I helped pioneer. Got bagged for it on both occasions. People had told me I didn't know how to edit, even though I was, editing short films for quite some time before YouTube existed. I knew how to edit properly, but I considered condensing my thoughts into a more easily, quickly digestible video more important than sticking to established cinematic editing styles. And it turned out that I was right, and now basically everybody does it. And people don't even notice anymore. It used to be we used to try to hide the jump cuts. Like you would start a sentence over here, and then you would go, oh, what am I going to say next? And you would check your script or your notes, if that's the way you worked, and you would move yourself over here and refocus the camera and then start your next take there. So the jump cut would be you jumping over to there. That would be a bit of visual interest or a way to try and hide that jump cut. Most people don't even bother with that anymore. They just jump cut right where they're sitting. They don't even bother trying to hide it at all. It used to be that you would hide, some fancier YouTubers would hide jump cuts underneath B-roll. I remember when nobody knew what B-roll was. Now it's just a phrase. People use it for everything. Any kind of coverage or any kind of cutaway, it's just B-roll. Not all B-roll is B-roll, by the way. Some of it is coverage. So, coming back to the 10-minute thing, that's the point I started the video with. I've been accused of stretching my videos out to 10 minutes. The opposite is actually true. It used to be, like in the earliest days, and that's why I started talking about the early days. My glasses there's a thing on my glasses. In the earliest days of YouTube, it used to be that I would do this. I would turn on the camera and I would talk about whatever the subject was until I ran out of things to talk about, or I felt like I'd made my point 2 or 3 times, because you have to repeat yourself a couple of times just to drive the point home. Sometimes you have to rephrase the point or move the observation point of your point to a different angle to make sure that as many people as possible understand what you're trying to get at, because sometimes one metaphor won't do it, but another one will for someone else because of their own personal frame of reference. So that's why, if you ever feel like I'm repeating myself, I am. That's why teachers repeat themselves in classrooms. Repetitivism helps you learn. Repetitivism helps you learn. Repetitivism helps you learn. There's a whole Simpsons gag about that. What episode was that in? Someone out there will know off the top of their head. March, I think it was. So yeah, I would turn on the camera and just waffle, and then I would cut that down. And it used to be that, each of my takes, recording sessions was 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes long. And I would do my best to squish that down into the 3 to 5 minute target that we were shooting for back in those days. And then the whole 10-minute thing happened with the ads. And I didn't change the way I edited. I still did the same thing for quite a long time. And gradually, people became more accepting of longer videos because more and more and more creators out there were targeting their content at the 10-minute length. Not just this talking to camera stuff, but actual, proper thought out, planned content, skits and reviews and, more sophisticated stuff than this. They would target at least 10 minutes to maximize their own ad revenue because, well, why wouldn't you? If you're trying to make this a career, why wouldn't you try to maximize the revenue you get passively through the pre-roll, post-roll, mid-roll ads? People have become gradually more accepting of that. Like I said at the beginning, I used to get harassed for it, being called a sellout, but now it's what's people want. People sort of accept ads as just part and parcel of the package. This is the way things happen. This is, unless you're directly supporting via a Patreon or a subscription, like on Twitch, if you subscribe, you don't get the ads there and stuff like that. Well, at least you used to. I think they turned that back on. But it's just become the accepted norm. People understand that's a lot of content creators wouldn't be able to do what they do at least anywhere near as frequently as they do it, or make it an actual career so they can feed you videos every day or every other day, or a big fancy one once a week, or however they work, it wouldn't be possible without ads. And it would be much more difficult if they only got the one ad at the beginning, because ads are paying less and less at the moment. I'm telling you that much. Please subscribe to my Patreon. Help, please. But my personal, I felt freer to make my videos a little bit longer and leave in more ancillary content, more supporting content as people were watching. The roll-off in the beginning used to be 30 seconds, and it stretched out to 90 seconds on average, and now it's sort of up to about 2.5 to 3 minutes. That roll-off I was talking about before, where people, how much time people will give a video before they decide to run away, or decide whether or not it's for them, or they get bored of it, or they don't like the presentation style, or whatever the reason is, they leave. And that has gradually got longer and longer as well. The attention span before people leave a comment seems to be about the same. They read the title and then make a comment based on what they think the video might be about. Go to any video about a gaming subject, for instance, and that's what will happen. Certainly happened on the last one I posted. And everyone I've posted for the last 10 years. But yeah, just my videos have naturally grown to the point where 10 minutes seems to be a natural stopping point for me, either because it's become habit in how I approach things, or it's just become inbuilt in, in a subconscious way. I feel like, well, I've spoken for about, 13 minutes, and that'll naturally cut down to about 9 to 11 minutes worth of content, because I've got better over time about presentation as well. It used to be I had to do a lot of jump cuts because I would and and think and and but just by nature of the habit of doing this, and in particular live streams has helped a lot as well, because that's you can't edit live streams. I've become better and better about structuring how I deliver these videos, even when it is off the cuff like this. So it's a whole mixture of things that have contributed to the way my videos tend to flow, or don't flow these days. In fact, how long have I gone now? 12 minutes. 12 minutes, 12 seconds, 14 seconds, 15 seconds. Depending on how much I trim out at the beginning. I don't know did I press record and wait, or did I start straight away? I don't know. Either way, this feels like a natural stopping point. This was going to be a completely different video. But then I started the frame up, and the frame up just sort of spilled out into a whole sort of inside baseball look at YouTube then and now. So hopefully you found this interesting enough at least to subscribe, the bell, leave a comment. Thank you, patrons, by the way, up there. See, now I've got less than 20 seconds to end this video, because this end screen takes about 20 seconds. So thank you very much for watching. I am Bloody Animal. Catch you next time. And now I'm just going to sit at the camera smiling blankly to make sure I reach that 20-second mark, so everything rolls out nicely.